Alright, runt. Time to get down to business. I'm gonna put you through the most grueling training of your life.
Oh boy! Let's do it!
Okay. As long as we're clear on that.
Uh-huh!
What's up everybody, StevDeS here, and welcome to another edition of Dragon Ball Days. This Dragon Ball Day is brought to you again by the commenter Ian Cottrell. Over on another one of my videos, he mentioned how different it might be if maybe the brothers Son were swapped in the timeline. And so I thought about the idea, and I thought about how different Gohan and Goten really are. And that brought us off with part 1 starting in the Dead Zone movie, where Goten first unleashed the Kamehameha wave. Yep, the turtle wave. Little Goten's Kamehameha was actually a deciding factor in 2 big battles in the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, at least as far as this timeline is concerned. The battle against Garlic Jr., where the child had erupted in a focused blast of ki that blew Garlic Jr. back into the dead zone, and the other one strong enough to wound Raditz. This did wound Goku a little bit, but in the end, Raditz was killed by the special beam cannon fired by Piccolo, and consequentially, Krillin, who took place in the battle, took the beam through his chest as well. Instead of Goku sacrificing himself, it was Goku's best friend sacrificing himself for his best friend and his best friend's son. Oh, Krillin, you're just like part of the family, man. Godspeed. With Goku going to Otherworld, as I can see him do, with Goku headed to Otherworld to train with King Kai with the help of Kami, he also accepted Piccolo taking Goten in order to properly train the lad for the upcoming battle. He's gonna need a firm hand and believe less that this is about fun and more about saving the world. And so, with Piccolo training Goten and Chi-Chi also training to hope to see her son once again, let's get back into what if Goten was born first. Now, as far as power levels are concerned, Chi-Chi's been out of the game for quite a while, but that doesn't mean Chi-Chi's not experienced. She retained a lot of that experience, as is shown coming to the Buu Saga, where she was training Goten, and she was holding her own. Until he went Super Saiyan, and then she just started, he's a monster, that sort of thing happened. Thus, I do believe that Chi-Chi would be a little more powerful than the Saiyan saga would infer. Considering Chi-Chi was able to keep up with Goku during the World Tournament, it means that Chi-Chi might be a little bit more adept and actually might fit where Krillin isn't, because Krillin's kinda dead for a second time. Shenron can't bring him back. Not to mention, she has a goal. She wants to see her son again, and she wants to be sure her son is protected by whatever these aliens are. So, Chi-Chi in this timeline has a power level of... What was her power level initially? According to the Daizenshu, in Dragon Ball, Chi-Chi's power level was 130. While I do see her maybe growing to 160, I have no idea what her new power level would be following Kami's training. So, I think it's time for some super complex mathematics with Professor Dez.
Get off my board! Get off my board! Get off my board! Get off my board!
Hello and welcome to Super Complex Mathematics with Professor Dez. Today we will be teaching you how to analyze data in a function in the more basic terms.
In order to determine Chi-Chi's power level in comparison to other humans, we must first put her in a set of data that is much like her. These are the data sets we will be exploring today. You see, Piccolo, Chaozu, Tien, Krillin, Yamcha, and Yajirobe are all experienced fighters. Therefore, they are more important than Gohan in the original timeline. These will be the data points under analysis. Now, to determine if the data points that we will be using are relevant, we must find out something about Chi-Chi. Unfortunately, there is no other female Z-fighter in the series. So, unfortunately, we will have to bias her based on the men because we cannot scientifically get an estimate as far as that is concerned. However, it is not strange for Toriyama to overpower a couple of characters for the point of plot convenience. Broly. Another thing we will have to consider is the body type of all the fighters. Now, Krillin may be a little short, but he's at least taller than Chaozu in canon. So, we will be taking out the Chaozu, and Piccolo is not even human. So, his data point will also be an unfortunate outlier in this estimate. Piccolo would be a little too high, and Chaozu would be a little too low. Not to mention, we cannot use Gohan because Gohan is, by technicality, a half-breed. So, we will be comparing Chi-Chi's data. So, we will be comparing what we know about Chi-Chi to the data points suggested with Tien, Krillin, Yamcha, and Yajirobe. Seeing as Chi-Chi currently has battle experience in her repertoire, our goal will be finding a suitable multiplier with which to apply her power level at the end of Dragon Ball 2 in order to properly find out what she will be at upon the Saiyans' arrival. If you wish to follow along, then please take your time to read and or write down these vocabulary terms. We will be looking at the mean and the median for the data in question. The mean, also known as the average, is the sum of all the data points divided by how many data points there are, while the median is found in the middle of the data points. The way we find it in an even set of data is we take the two central amounts, these two central data points, and divide them after adding them, aka we find the average of the two middle ones. That will tell us what is in the exact middle of the set of data. And this is what your table should look like. Now, there's a couple of things that we need to be sure of. One, we will not be able to use Yajirobe as his power level in Dragon Ball is a mystery. I imagine it would be weaker than Yamcha, but perhaps stronger than Chaozu. However, we do have enough data points to work with in the case of Tien, Yamcha, and Krillin. So, let us get to work. And so, after analyzing the data, we conclude that Chi-Chi's power level will be at 1052, because 1051.7 will round up to the next number. Meaning that when we take this number and divide it by this number, we should get the multiplier of 8.09 times. Rounded to the hundredth, of course. Now, class, I would like you to take a moment, if you have joined along this lesson, and we will try to find Yajirobe's power level together. Now, while we are missing two very important data points and having just one of these would be enough to answer the problem, unfortunately, we will have to try our best to summarize it in a way that makes sense. So, what we will do is we will take the average that we found for Chi-Chi, seeing as she is out of the loop and Yajirobe is unhealthy. We will be putting the multiplier that we discovered for Chi-Chi here as a rather fair estimate. Now, here comes the fun part. We will be taking 970 and dividing it by 8.09. When we do that, we will end up with 119 and an ugly decimal. The ugly decimal will then be 120. Fans of Dragon Ball, does that sound like a proper estimate for Yajirobe's power level? What do you think, StevDeS?
Well, I don't know. Does that power level sound accurate to you all? Go ahead and leave a comment below.
Thank you all for listening to my lesson. This was Super Complex Mathematics. I hope to see you again. Get off my board! 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 Ah!
Well, looks like my guess was off, but for the sake of the story, let's give Chi-Chi just a little power-up. Not akin to what Krillin actually was during the Saiyan Saga, but just a little bit more, just to kind of even the playing field. She is motivated after all. So, let's say 1250. That extra 200 should at least help her not get Yamcha'd by a Cyberman. You know, no pose like this for Chi-Chi. Speaking of, we go to the battlefield where the Saiyans arrive and meet the Z Warriors, and sure enough, the Cybermen happen. But before that, Chi-Chi sees her son. Oh, such a nice scene to see Chi-Chi run after her boy and give him a hug and be so grateful that he's safe, and then give Piccolo a death glare, and Piccolo just kind of shudders a little bit, and then they continue their hug, and then the Saiyans get bored, and then the Cybermen come out. That's not much for Mushy. This is just a really fun little scene. We also get a little bit of a flashback sequence to Goten training with Piccolo, and Piccolo pushing the child. Due to how brutal his training is, and Goten being more than happy to train with him and learn a lot of new things, like the multi-form technique, for example, Goten is, well, he's way better than Gohan in the original, sporting a power level of 1800. Remember, those Zenkai boosts would add up, and since Piccolo knows what a Zenkai boost is, oh boy, he's gonna abuse it! As the Saiyan battle begins, Vegeta stops Nappa and tells him to plant the Cybermen. Sure enough, the Cybermen attack, and Yamcha is not Yamcha. Remember the math that Professor Des did for What If the Dragons Were Swapped Part 2? That comes into play here. Not only do we have Goku, who has Krillin as a training partner, meaning the training could go by a little faster, but we also have Krillin, who doesn't have to eat, helping Goku out whenever Goku has to rest. Not to mention, whenever Goku has to eat, I'm sure Kami would have given him a few senzu beans. That would have filled him up for a day. And not only did Goku have senzu beans given to him by Kami, but he also had a luxurious meal made for him by Princess Snake. With this teamwork, he's able to get to King Kai's planet without starving out. And that's kind of a big thing for a Saiyan. But King Kai's pantries have never been emptier. Yamcha is saved by a stray ki blast, and wouldn't you know it, Goku has made the scene. Therefore, much less death happens against Nappa. We naturally get the scene as Nappa still has his armor and he's still in perfect shape, but to see this guy just completely waste Cybermen when everybody's supposed to be weaker, this is not a good thing. So, naturally...
Vegeta! What does the scouter say about his power level? It's over 10,000! What? 10,000? That's impossible! There's no way that can be right!
Naturally, Nappa blunders in like the thick-headed oaf he is, and Goku hands him his butt on a platter. This seems to be a much easier win for the Z-Force. Huh, I've thought about that. Vegeta is routed upon by every Z fighter, and this is where he pulls out his ace in the hole, the thing that I love mentioning on this channel, the Powerball technique. Hold on, StevDeS! Wouldn't Goten transform into a great ape here? I mean, you basically made him the same power level as Gohan, right? Goten would just turn into a big ape too! He's got a tail! What tail? There is one big thing that Goten lacks that Gohan had, and that's the fact that he lacks a tail. In this battle, I would have it that the lives of Chaozu and Yamcha are lost to the Great Ape Vegeta. Yamcha tries to go for the tail, brandishing his old bandit sword, which was actually pretty cool, and unfortunately getting crushed because Vegeta's a bit smarter than that. Chaozu, however, yeah, he still kamikazes, but he kamikazes right about here to try to daze and stun the monkey as best he can. In a fury, Tien takes to the skies and starts raining down blast after blast of his Shin Kikoho, much like he kind of did with, second form Cell in the Android Saga. This time, this anger is focused at Vegeta, and it keeps Vegeta still just long enough for Goku, Chi-Chi, and Goten to do something about it. Naturally, Piccolo doesn't want to risk anything, and they are even explicitly told that Piccolo should not risk anything here. Naturally, Piccolo trusts his student. Not so much Chi-Chi, but he also trusts Goku here, so why not? He'll come in when the time's right. This slows Vegeta down long enough so that the Son family can gather their ki together and launch a Son family Kamehameha. That's right, Chi-Chi knows this technique. She would probably want to know it from Yamcha, who knew it, so that she could be a part of the battle and be a little bit more useful. She didn't want to learn anything like the Dodon Ray or any of Piccolo's techniques, and if Krillin was there, maybe she would learn the Destructo Disc, but yeah, he's dead. Vegeta is now on the back foot, fighting off fighter after fighter, and his stamina is starting to go down fast. He has to think of a way out of this, and then he thinks about the boy. Clearly, he's related to Kakarot. Maybe he's related to that woman as well. This is where he grabs Goten in a headlock and uses him like a meat shield. Naturally, everyone stops in their tracks. They're afraid that Vegeta's gonna off the child if they don't take this situation seriously.
Vegeta, stop this! This is between you and me! I'm sure you'd be so inclined, Kakarot. But I have other plans, and those plans don't involve me dying here. So I'm going to be taking the boy towards my ship and leaving.
This is where Yajirobe shows up and cuts through the back of Vegeta's armor, causing him to drop Goten. Sure enough, this leaves Vegeta open, and the Spirit Bomb is launched, hitting Vegeta directly. Naturally, Vegeta is wounded, and there's a lot of Z fighters that actually survived this. Purely because Goku could come back earlier, but Goten was able to hold himself against the Cybermen all the same, so there's a lot to consider for the next saga. And so, I have 2 polls for the both of you. Is Vegeta spared? Under normal circumstances, Vegeta is spared by Goku, but here we have 6 fighters. Piccolo, Chi-Chi, Goku, Goten, Yajirobe, and Tien all weighing in on Vegeta's life. For this first poll, I want you to tell me if Vegeta is spared or not. He's too weak to fight everyone on his own. And even if he does take at least one of them out, he's still going to be routed by everyone. His only option at this point is to either retreat or die with his honor intact. The second poll is a big one. They are going to find out that there are other Dragon Balls that may be able to revive Krillin and maybe even revive Chaozu. These Dragon Balls seem to be different in property, but they are able to help in this case. The second poll is a big one. Who goes to Namek when? On the poll, I have these letters representing the different people that are going to go to Namek. They have more than enough motivation. On one side, I can see Goten wanting to train with his dad. On the other end, Chi-Chi wouldn't be too happy about Goten traveling alone. So, I'm going to leave this next part up to you as far as who goes to Namek when, and with who. For more what-ifs in the realm of video gaming and Dragon Ball alike, such as if future Piccolo actually survived the android onslaught, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!